A long, long time ago, there was a small village called Offa in the western part of Nigeria. Offa was a little village which was made up of a few villagers. The people of Offa knew one another and they lived in peace and harmony as one big happy family. They had so much trust in themselves and had no reason to hide or protect any of their properties from one another. The people were mostly farmers, and every morning before going off to the farm, they would display their farm produce or whatever they had to sell just outside their huts and put price tags on each item to indicate how much they cost before going about their day. So whosoever wanted to buy anything would see the prices, drop the money and take whatever item they paid for. And there had never been any complaints about theft. This had been the norm for decades, and the people carried on from generation to generation. But this norm was short-lived, as one fateful day, the village youth leader Ronke ran out to complain about her missing fruits, which she kept outside her hut before going to her farm. She couldn't find the fruits, neither could she find any money. Some other people joined her to also complain about their missing items. Everyone present that day was in shock because this had never been heard of. The villagers could drop a valuable possession out in public and still come back to find it exactly where they dropped it. Ronke was so furious, and she went with some others whose goods had also been stolen to report the case to the king. The king, on hearing this, was shocked. "This has never been heard of in the history of this village," he said. Even in the reign of previous kings before him, he had never heard of such. He therefore promised to send his guards into the village to guard and capture the thief. A few of the palace guards went into the village and protected it. But when the thief came to steal, the thief attacked and overpowered them. The guards had never had a reason to train themselves against thieves and rogues, so they were not strong enough to capture and overpower the thief. The king was so worried at this point because he knew his people were in danger and he could not protect them. So he went back to his palace and thought of a plan. He came back to meet with the villagers the next day and asked them for suggestions on how to tackle the issue before them. Ronke, the youth leader and the most troublesome in the village, suggested that the villagers should be left to capture the thief, and whosoever succeeded should be rewarded greatly, and that when the thief is caught, the person should be killed for causing chaos in the entire village. Most of the other villagers thought that the punishment was too grave, but Ronke was a wicked woman who would always want to have her way, so she kept insisting. The king had no choice, then announced to the entire village that since his guards were unable to capture the thief, he was calling on the entire village to put in their best and capture the person behind the stealing happening in the village, and when the thief is caught, they would be killed irrespective of who they were. And the entire village agreed and everyone went their separate ways. Ronke was a woman who everyone avoided because she was wicked and thought of only her selfish interests. She had no friends because she would always quarrel with everyone. She left her hometown and relocated into Offa village. And because she was one of the fighters in her hometown, she would always beat up anyone who annoyed her. She was always referred to as a man. The entire village was excited about the reward the king promised to whosoever caught the thief, so everyone worked extra hard to be the person who caught the thief in order to be rewarded. Ronke, being the one who initiated the plan, did so she could also be rewarded. One day, the thief showed up again, and out of fear of getting harmed, the villagers all ran away. Those present when he appeared couldn't recognize him because he was putting on a mask. The news spread across the village, and Ronke was furious that she missed the opportunity of being the one who caught the thief because she was at her farm. She came up with a plan. She went to the king's palace to report that she knew the person behind the mask, and she accused her neighbor Bamidele of being the thief. Everyone was surprised that Bamidele was the one behind all this, but he kept pleading and begging that Ronke was just trying to frame him. The villagers, in anger, all asked that he should be executed, but the king stopped them and said that he was sure that Bamidele wasn't the culprit, because at the time the thief came to steal, Bamidele was in the palace with the king, and Ronke was just trying to frame him. The villagers were shocked that Ronke could go to that extent to falsely accuse someone just because of her desperation to get rewarded by the king. She was severely warned never to repeat it again, else she would take the place of the thief in execution. She went home in shame while the villagers avoided her even more. Ronke was ever so desperate to catch the thief that she abandoned her farm work and started lurking around the village in hopes of finding the man behind the mask and taking him to the king. One day, while she was lurking around as usual, she heard people screaming, "Thief! Thief!" She was agitated. She quickly picked up a big stick and ran towards the direction of the screams. By the time she got there, she noticed that the thief scared everyone away and he was packing all the items into a big bag. She quietly snuck behind him and hit him very hard on his head. He immediately became very weak and almost lost consciousness. She called for help and villagers assisted her in taking the thief down to the king's palace. At the palace, she kept bragging that she was the one who captured the thief and that she would be rewarded, while the thief should quickly be executed. The king was impressed and commended her for her bravery and said that he must keep to his word by rewarding the person who captured the thief and execute the one behind the mask. He asked that the face of the criminal be revealed. Everyone was anxious to see who it was. When the mask was taken off, no one could recognize the criminal as he was not one of the villagers. But Ronke shouted, "No, this can't be true." It was her brother Femi. She asked what he was doing in the village, and he explained that he came to pay her a visit for the first time one afternoon. But on getting to the village, he saw that the people left their goods and even some money outside, and he saw it as an opportunity to acquire as much as he could before showing up at her hut. He had to hide because he knew that if the villagers realized a stranger was in the village, they would clock that he was the one behind all the stealing. So he spent most of his nights in the forest. Then during the day, when the villagers bring out their goods again, he would come out to steal. Ronke was in turmoil. She couldn't believe it. She had to start pleading on her brother's behalf, but the king, being a man of his words, explained to her that he could not go back on his words. As a matter of fact, she was the one who came up with the idea of killing the thief when he was found. The villagers felt no pity for her, and they all started chanting for Femi to be killed. The guards bundled him away to execute him, while Ronke regretted her actions of being too forward at making judgments. With tears in her eyes, she went back to her hut and packed her things and headed back to her village to inform her family of what had happened. What we can learn from this story is that we should not be too desperate or too forward when passing judgment on people, as it could come back to bite us. We should also learn to be more kind to those around us. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Please don't forget to give it a big thumbs up, comment, subscribe and turn on your post notification to get notified when next I post a new video. Bye!